Africa is growing. What do you mean, like Africa is growing? What are they growing for? Are they growing in corruption? Because I'm from Africa, and at the
Which
same
country?
time, the corruption is still there. And if Obama want to help the Africa people, like Obama said, our problem, we have to know what is our problem. And we, as an Africa, we got a lot of problem because I would say something like tribalism will bring corruption as well. Because in Africa, we got different tribes that if, like, an Yoruba man is a president, it's going to affect the Benin people.
Okay.
And if Obama want to do something, if Obama want to do something in Africa, and he says the problem is we the Africa have to do something about it. So what do you think we have to do? Because we have to do something. And what do you really think we have to do to really, do something? What do you think we have to do? That is what I want to ask.
Okay, I'll put that one to Lord David Lee, I think. It's probably a question as much for the other panellists to answer as you, but take that question on board with the original one about Obama being right. Is he right to say Africa must sort out its own problems?
Well, I found reading his speech, I was very moved by the fact that, as I think the High Commissioner was mentioning, his father and his grandfather, his family history in Kenya under British rule, and the progress that he's been able to make. And no one will be able to say that Obama doesn't know anything about Africa, and he's just...
But I mean, Obama's father progressed by leaving Africa.
Nevertheless, you can see from the applause in Accra that a lot of Africans, and there's cheering and dancing in Nairobi and so on, in the lower end of Kenya, where his grandfather was. And I don't think there's much doubt, and it's for other people to judge. I'm not an African, but it's other people to say this, and I think they have said it, that they are greatly encouraged by the fact that President Obama is there. But secondly,
part of Obama's father's problem was that he came back to Africa and got enmeshed in Kenyan corruption. Obama said this in his speech, and that was and he ended his life a failure partly because of the consequences of bad African government.
Well, let's come on to that. I mean, obviously, I think what he meant was that no one's going to suddenly stop the $50 billion a year going from the industrial countries to Africa. But the reason why many African countries, and I include Ghana and Kenya, who were miles above Malaysia at independence, are now a long way below. And the issues of governance, independent judiciary, no nepotism, the Auditor General isn't the brother-in-law of the President, and so on. These things are for Africans to sort out. But they are the key to Africans growing Africa. And I think if the quote from Obama can be summed up, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, I think that is what a lot of
And that
Africans...
is realistic, you think?
I take the point on my left about trade, although the main WTO, World Trade Organization, problems a year ago were between America and India to do with cotton. And I don't think you can say that in relation to Britain or Europe and Africa, the main issue is trade terms. It is the problems about how to get more investment moving and growing jobs in Africa. The Chinese may have a role to play, but of course the Chinese aren't going to be...
Anyone want to comment on this?
Well, it's right. The issue about corruption and the issue of governance is a crucial one. It's needed for Africa to evolve.
But is it something that Africans can fix for themselves? I mean, isn't it like saying, you know, to a poor person in Britain, it's all your own fault, you've got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps?
To an extent, yes. But the thing is, Africa, it has been trying to resolve its own issues. That's why we've got the African Union. That's why recently we've got Gaddafi, who's the head of the African Union, calling for United States of Africa. Clearly, that's something which has happened. He's very, very passionate about that. And I think Africans collectively have got to look at that and think, well, hang on a second, is it not time we start working together? Because on the issue of trade, as we've rightly mentioned, and the issue of WTO, World Trade Organization, we cannot be able to get the best deals out of these organizations if we don't work collectively, because we have a whole string of meetings that have to be attended. A lot of African governments do not have the muscle, financial muscle to attend these meetings, let alone to be able to have the right results. So collectively, we can have good approaches, good decision makings on WTO, good decision makings with the IMF, and good decisions with the rest of the world in terms of trade.
All right, another audience question. No need to stand up when you ask it.
Yeah, can I ask
what can be done to eradicate poverty in African countries? What do you think? What stance do you think America should take on this issue?
On eradicating poverty?
Yeah.
Let's ask the High Commissioner that. What's your feeling on that?
Let me just add a little bit to the
add to the previous answer and then, deal with the question.
Yeah, actually, to resolve the issue or to solve the issue of unfair trade relations between the developed and developing countries, I think Africa should look more into intra-African trade. I believe that the U.S. Developed its manufacturing sector when it did this sectional grouping during the war. It rather improved its manufacturing sector by trading within itself, given certain kinds of products to certain sections of its economy. And Africa could do that. We talk about comparative advantage. We could look at that in
inter-African
Africa.
trade. I mean, links between African states, even transport links, basic transport links, are terrible. I mean,
Yes,
quite often
yes.
the quickest way to get from one place in Africa to
Exactly.
a neighbouring country is to fly via Paris or London.
And African trade is open-ended, and we produce mostly primary goods and commodities. There's a need to add value to it, and sell finished products to ourselves. You were talking about eradicating poverty in Africa. I think that the strategy is not to spoon-feed the people, the poor in Africa, but to give them the tools for improving themselves.
So do you need any help from the rest of us to improve, for instance, your intra-continental trade? Or is this something you can do entirely for yourselves, you think?
No, I think considering the status of global trade now, we would need some assistance with technology transfer and so on, other equipment and other tools for improving trade and
Okay.
producing the articles of trade.
We've got another question from the audience there. Man right at the end in the blue shirt, yeah.
Yes, I've heard the panelists mention about some international institutions like World Trade Organization and so on. What is the benefit of IMF
The
in
International
Africa?
Monetary
And
Fund.
secondly, why is Ghana going for the $600 million?
Why is what going
from
for the
IMF?
600 million? Why is what
$600
going?
million from
What's the
IMF.
600 million? Sorry, I didn't get that. Why is Ghana?
Going for the $600 million offer from IMF.
Okay,
Is that the solution to
explain
the
that
problem?
specific point and then we'll move on.
It's only a stopgap measure to put the economy on an even keel before we start realizing the incoming from our oil prospects.
Does it beg the question? Ghana is a well-governed country, particularly by African standards, but actually there hasn't been a great deal yet of foreign investment in Ghana, which is one of the things that that Obama was talking about attracting. Does that show that even if you even if you hold the party, Western investors might not want to come?
The major concern of Western investors in Ghana is the paucity of the market. And we have assured them that Ghana is a gateway to West African sub-region of about 250 million people, the ECOWAS sub-region. We are gradually realizing the collective nature of ECOWAS, and I believe that once they realize that the market is adequate,
Okay.
they would come. Yeah.